industry. He ran a print shop for 30 something years, and he was one of the first people to really integrate digital embellishment. I think his first machine was the JETvarnish 3DS. I think he had the first and second one in North America, and has really lived through a lot of the good, the bad, the ugly, the whole thing. And this is really the greatest person I could think of to really host this little meeting. So, Ken, why don't you take it away, buddy? It's your meeting.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. Kirill, I see you're a little bit new to the forum. We learned a little bit about you, but what we normally do is we start off talking about some of the successes we've had in the last 2 weeks, or some of the issues that have cropped up that have caused us pain. Do you have anything you want to talk about from the last couple of weeks with printing?
Well, we had a huge installation for the past few months here. It was located in the city of Burgas. It's not in our capital, so I had to travel a lot to help the operators there and the client to get to know the technology and start up. So we installed 3D Web and Evo at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, and KM1 as well. So actually, we had a lot of issues with the 3D Web at the start, technical issues, but let's say that now they're 90+% fixed. We have a small issue which after a long print, you will get some kernel errors, but now we had the advice to do a fresh image and change the hard drive, and I hope that next week it will be solved. And the guys are working non-stop with the web now. Everything is finished. It took us 2.5 months to make it running, but now the client is satisfied and it's getting good results. And I am okay. The operators, the client operators there are pretty good. They have more than 20 years in the roll-to-roll experience. So they're getting good. Maybe we'll have some small issues with the Evo for now, but we escalated this. We have some issue with when we foil. For example, I don't know how much time I have, guys. So
go ahead. It's great information. Go ahead. Let us have it.
Yes. For now, for Evo, we have this problem when we need to run a job for multiple passes, foil job. After the first foil pass, if you use a narrow roll of foil, and the heating pressure roller of the iFoil will touch the substrate without the foil itself, it will reduce the dyne level. And we had a snow ticket for this. For now, it's not solved. The ticket is closed because everyone explained us that this is quite normal to lose a dyne level when the pressure roller is touching the substrate. But even with Corona, we are not able to get it back to normal. And the effect of this is that the varnish will look thinner when you lose the dyne level. And sometimes it can easily peel off. So if you guys knew anything about this issue, I will be happy to hear some and to have some solution from you.
It sort of leads me into Adam had asked a great question on the forum this week about varnish and getting it to stand up and to not have foil crack. And it was tempting to go ahead and just throw out a couple of things that he could try, but I thought maybe it'd be good information. Some of the stuff I've learned over time that can affect this, it's far more chemical than it is mechanical often. When that varnish cures, those polymers have got to cross-link completely, and if they don't, you end up with a partially dry UV. Now, I know most experts will say you get it under the lamps long enough and the right conditions, it will completely cure. I don't fall for it. I don't fall for it, especially from the KM1 side of things. You know, that hybrid UV on that press, you can think that ink is dry and it can be worked, but there's just some things you can't do to it. It's not completely pure. And if I don't know what MGI's official policy is on this, but if you take freshly printed product over to a guillotine cutter within the first 5 to 10 minutes, it will brick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got varnishes that have different initiator loads. You've got the fact that it's not completely cured all the way to the base. And I think that leads into where the conductivity of the sheet can change when you do stamp on it, because it's not holding a charge completely, and you're also dealing with semi-wet varnish. So it's got some challenges, and it leads to substrate too. This is just like an unwinding ball for me, but you know, some paper manufacturers will coat paper, and then they will knock back the coating to get dull coated paper. Some manufacturers will not even technically coat dull coated paper. They'll just add calcium carbonates and clays and other materials like that they press into the sheet, and then it doesn't completely seal the sheet. So if you don't seal the sheet and then you're trying to put a liquid polymer down and any of it absorbs into the paper at all, now you're talking about a huge drying problem, and you're talking about a huge dye level change because you've introduced so much moisture to the sheet. So, I mean, looking at all these items and consistently and constantly checking paper manufacturers and different grades of paper to see what works the best. Sometimes all of these, from dyeing level all the way to the polymer drying, can actually be sheets of paper. So whether it's approved or not, I think most paper manufacturers, they get into a certain dyeing range for offset printing, and they get to a certain gloss level, and they're content. They're really not thinking about the things that us as operators have to think about on a day-to-day basis. So a constant testing and finding those ironclad sheets that you know you can depend on, that will also hold a great charge when it comes to the dyeing level, can make all the difference in the world. And Kirill, I'm sure you see a lot of this in the field. You're asked to do so much with so little at times that it can be quite frustrating as an operator.
Yeah. And for this particular issue, we have it even when the substrate is laminated. And I've tried 4 different laminates, and for 2 of them, I'm absolutely sure that they are working fine because some other clients are using them. They're exactly the same.
Kirill,
Exactly. Yes.
So
did you try to clean the roller?
Yes, we did, and it's a brand new installation. If you ask me which type is it, it's the black one, not the orange one.
Oh.
So I don't know if the machine. Actually, I need to check the production date, but I don't think we have a problem with the roller. I don't know what's the issue.
Kirill, is your issues mostly on KM1 prints or all the different kinds of prints?
These are all KM1 and laminated.
Challenging for sure.
Yeah. Well, Ken, you used to run basically a KM1 with your jet varnish, right? So you know the issues.
Yeah, we had an IS-29, and I had real problems. I didn't have the luxury of having a Crony unit at the time, but I forget about anything less than 50 microns of varnish. It needed to be flooded, and I needed to get it. I needed the intensity of that first lamp to set it instantly, because I would get pinholes and bleed. It would bleed off, and things would change. It is not the most perfect surface to be putting varnish over the top of. So it's very hard. I mean, it's UV over UV. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it there's so little surface tension, it wants to fall right off. So it was about getting a lot on and getting it cured quickly.
Well, for now, the client is producing, and for now, the jobs are like this, that they can use a foil roll, which will be exactly the same width or a little bit narrower than the substrate, and we don't have the problem. But if you want to, let's say, save some money and use a narrow roll of foil just to foil a small area,
yeah,
we'll have the problem. This is the issue.
When you say narrow, how narrow is narrow? Are you talking less than 2 inches?
Let's say if we have a substrate which is let's say 50 centimeters plus, and we had a foil roll which is 302 millimeters, so 32 centimeters. Everything in this area is okay, but if you on the second pass try to put varnish and or foil outside this area, everything looks thinner. The varnish, the dye level drops so much. According to the NGI officials, it should drop by 3 or 4 units, but with we have Vetaphone dyeing pens, brand new, and we measured that it's more than 12 the drop, more than 12 units, and I don't have the proper dyeing pens to measure it lower because it's lower. I know it's lower.
What percentage of the printed piece is foil?
What percentage?
What percentage of the sheet coverage wise?
The sheet coverage, it's 5% or 6% for this particular job that we run.
And so have there been studies done that show what the recharging of the sheet for the dye level does when you increase the amount of foil you put down? Because certainly it's got to arc or affect charge or ground, or something's got to be at play there that's causing a discharge of the corona treated sheet.
I'm not at the client site for 1 week, and my colleagues are there, and they are trying to fix it. And maybe next time I'll have more info, and we will try more things and experiment. But for now, this is all the experiments that we did, and we didn't have good result. And we can try different stuff, but it is going to be next week because I will be there. It's
Gerardo, you have a lot of pearls of wisdom. You look like you were going to say something. I want to hear it. What do you got?
Yeah, I in my experience, I believe it's heat. The heat actually goes against the rule that we are producing, and sometimes some papers need to be cooled off before entering again on the machine. And we had this week, my sister, who is actually should be on this meeting, made this sample. This is uncoated paper on a single pass, with gold, and actually, and later it was thermographed on the text. So she did the 2 passes because she wanted more a 3D effect. But I always tell her, always let the paper rest a little because of the heat that the roller puts on the paper.
I will try this because all our attempts were after each other. So we foiled and then tried it right away.
That's
Yeah,
a great.
the heat is a big constraint on the paper itself. And the other thing is, I looked at the question Adam posted, and someone suggested grinding the roller or something like that to reduce tension. Do you know anything about that?
No. We had an advice to change it to the new type, the orange one, which is maybe it's not that hard. The black ones are harder, but we haven't changed it yet, so I don't know if this will better the result.
The new ones are silicone based, and the old ones are different. I don't know if someone knows.
They are harder when you touch them and when you press them. So the pressure is more with the old ones.
Okay.
Interesting.
I think the black ones are 80 shorts rubber, something like this. And I think the orange are in the some kind of silicone phase. I don't know exactly. But our customer redo the roller on iFoil T for the Meteor. with the silicone, and it's working without a problem.
Marco,
He
do you
did
know
only
the durometer level of the orange roller?
I don't know what it is.
Okay.
But Gerardo's point, I do
Yeah,
know.
but be aware. Sorry, Kevin. But be aware when you do that, not to remove the black matted surface on the roller. You know, you have the black matted surface on the roller on the back side, the maintenance side, because our customer did that, and then the sensor don't measure it good.
Okay.
Temperature sensor. So remove only the rubber part, or maybe 1 millimeter from the rubber to the. But you need to leave the matte black part of the roller needs to be there because of the measuring of the sensor.
But when the sensor goes to measure, should be black to get the measurement right.
Yes. If you have the metallic, if you they remove that when they remove the old rubber, they remove that matte part, and then you have the big metallic reflection to the sensor, and he's not reading good, and then we need to move it also the other sensor. We need to move it to the rubber to have it working.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. If you are redoing the roller, do not remove the matted part, black matted part on the maintenance side of the roller.
Okay. I wrote this down. Thank you for the advice.
And they put the silicon based that overstands 200 degrees centigrade, and it's working okay with 150 degrees on the metal, on a toner base for the forming. It's working okay.
Marco,
Okay.
why did they make that change? What did they think was going to be better about the new rubber?
No, they make it because the old rubber have the dips and the valleys. It's not flat anymore.
So
Because
durability.
it's the rubber. After using, after the using for 3 years, it didn't been flat anymore. So you need to push it to 100% of the pressure all the time, and even sometimes then you cannot get the good imprint. And after that, they have the imprint on a toner-based device, foiling on a toner with pressure of 50 without a problem.
Yeah, and speaking of pressure, I know when Adam brought up cracking of foil, I think it's important to also remember that as we increase micron levels and we get higher and higher, by the time you get to the back of a sheet, sometimes you really have to consider the pressure that you have because you've increased it quite a bit. And you could easily destroy the foil. It's not super durable, so I just thought I'd throw that out there as well.
And just one little piece I saw just to go on Gerardo's point is I know that there were several users back in the day that I know of that would put one of those little portable air conditioning units, the little ones that you buy at Walmart, and basically put blowers to blow onto the stacker as those sheets were going out to combat both blocking, and I don't know if it would have any effect at all on the second pass dyne levels. But are you sure that your Corona treater is working correctly? I mean, Kirill, it's
Yes, it's working because this was one of our technical issues from the start. It wasn't working, but it's 100% working now. We disassembled the whole unit and assembled it again. We have the spark and everything, and it works.
So Kirill and Marco, I know you both train. What is the official wording on how long a pass should dry or how long a product should sit on its side until you actually do any binary work? Is there an official word on that?
Official word is to sit it in TGD 24 hours before any manipulation, But I also did production on the Evo without the problem, 100 pieces of the foiling, on a laminated surface and put it inside for the second pass varnish. Everything worked okay in IPS. And everything I did 4,000 sheets without the problem. Not 4,000, maybe not. Oh yeah, 3,000 sheets with 2 passes. And this is the first time I hear something like this.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
guess the laminate makes for the perfect curing properties. I mean, it stands up tall, it gets the monomers linked, they come out hard. I mean, that's the perfect scenario. I guess if you know you got to turn around something quick, you might have to give up a little time on the laminating time, but to do that in order to get it out the door, that's probably the absolute perfect application.
I will try this for sure next week, and maybe we will change the roller with the new one, the orange one, and see what the result will be. And by the way, I'm in Prague now on a vacation, but here are the guys from IPES, Marco and Boris, and maybe I will see them in a couple of hours, and I will discuss the issue with them also.
Yeah, very cool. And have them join your customers that have the 2 new jet varnishes. Have them join the team if they ever want to come on and meet everybody. And
okay, next week when I'm there, I will show them the MGI JETforce and introduce them to the platform. And
yeah,
everything.
we've got some great people on here. So some really great power users, I say, of the community, and we're really thankful to have them.
Matt, you got an awful lot to interject here. Tell us what your experiences have been. I'm eager to hear.
First of all, am I coming through okay? Okay, all right. I guess it's just as long as no one else talks. So, well, we talked about several issues in the last 15, 20 minutes, and so I guess I'll just back up. We've always had an issue with running narrower widths of foil on a wider substrate, and that always comes down to the digital aspect. If it's coming off of a digital press that uses either a toner base or a UV based cured ink, it's always been an issue because you get that change in dye level when that hot pressure roller comes down on that bare sheet and there's no foil in between to absorb that heat. It does change the properties of the paper. I'm actually having an issue with that today. I keep backing off on the pressure, backing off, 87, 75. I keep going down to find out where that threshold level is because it burns the toner. This is coming off of an iridescent. And then I know that when I have to do a second pass with a second sheet of foil, all my settings are going to have to change because of the dye level. It's not huge, but it does affect it some. So our policy here at BOP is just that when we're running a foiled sheet, that we run the full width of the foil and charge it to the customer. There's just really no other way around it. In rare circumstances, okay, are we back?
You're back.
Okay. It just comes and goes sometimes. I have no idea what's going on. Let's see what router I'm on. I'm good. So we just have to run the full width of the foil and make sure that whatever it does to the sheet below it, it does it for the full width of the sheet. And so that way, if it's appearing to burn or tarnish the toner, then it does it uniformly throughout the sheet. What was the next thing that we needed to touch on? Someone remind me.
We talked about rubber. We talked about the rollers, pressure, getting foil to not crack on the second side.
Never had an issue with the foil cracking and really don't have any issues with pressure. I can run it at 100% usually. The only time where I have that problem, and I do it just because I can. It's not because it needs to be. I want that foil to lay on there like I really want it on there. But where I run into issues is I'm having that issue this morning is that when I'm running foil on both sides of the sheet, then it creates too much of an impression from the previous side to the second side, and then I have stray foil sticking where it shouldn't stick because there's a ripple in the sheet. It creates a corruption in the surface of the sheet. So that's when I have to start backing off on my foil pressures and keep an eye on that. And it just doesn't look good to have what was foiled on the underside start to show through as like a deboss effect on the reverse side. So it's just a matter of keeping an eye on that. I don't have a Corona unit, so I can't speak to that. I've run for years and years and years now without a Corona unit and really haven't had a need for one. Maybe I've just gotten used to working around it. I think there are times where it would be nice, but that just comes down to if this stock that we're currently trying doesn't work, try a different stock. We're always down for that. And customers don't really have an issue with it. We'll just charge accordingly and we'll just say, hey, it's just not running. It's not working on that stock. We need to try a different stock. It's a combination of everything. The alignment of the planets, the position of the moon, I mean, it's just, there's a lot of variables that I don't even know what they might be. Because things do shift on me from day to day, and the ambient room temperature has a lot to do with it. We're very humid here in Florida. Trying to keep the humidity to a constant level in this place is quite a challenge. So I could set up 10 jobs today, and then tomorrow, when I actually run them, I will still need to change those settings. And with this iFoil unit here that's sitting here behind me, temperature is a constant thing of heat buildup in the cabinet. So I've taken off that inside back panel and to allow for more air circulation. And I usually open the doors and have a fan blowing from the far end of the machine to this end of the machine with the door at an angle to catch the air to blow into the cabinet and create more air circulation to keep that temperature from building up throughout the run. That seems to be one of my biggest challenges. So that's all I really have to say on that.
Thanks, Matt. That's awesome. I mean, real world advice there. That's valuable to us all. One thing that Matt made me think of, Kirill, is being a IS-29/KM1 operator. I would often, on jobs that I knew I was going to have to get to the jet varnish quickly, I would have the IR heat turned up on the sheet warmer as it goes through the KM1. It did two things. It tended to help get any oxygen that's left in that coating out, and it would also dry out the pigments a little bit more and improve the dyeing level of the ink. So if you can get the operators to kick up that heat by a few degrees, sometimes that can make all the difference in the world. I just thought I'd throw that tidbit out as well. And wow, that time went really quick, Kevin. We promised 30 minutes, but I think sometimes we just got to go over. The content's too great. You're on mute, bud.
Yeah, I feel like we just got started here. Really good information, Ken. Thank you, everybody, today for joining. Tomorrow we have a special. We're going to try to kind of recreate the success that we're experiencing. Operator community, we're trying to do the same thing with the. I'm getting a lot of feedback here. We're going to try to do the same thing with the owner community. So tomorrow we have our first JETforce owners meetup. So if you know any owners that are interested in joining and just having an open discussion, whether it be, how can we sell more of this or whatever conversations that they want to have, we really encourage you to let them know that this is going on and that they're welcome to be part of this community. So once again, I wanted to thank all of you who could make it. I want to thank all of you who are watching this on the replay right now. We know that this is the lifeblood of the community, is the operators. This is where the most information is being exchanged. I think you guys are an invaluable part of what we're trying to build. And I think it's great to see all this great information being shared, and what we're figuring out. One part of the world can always apply to the other. And now we have a home to do that. So a big thank you for everybody. Thank you, Ken, for doing a great job monitoring as always. Our next operator meetup is going to be scheduled at the end of the month. You should have all the information I think it's on the 25th or 27th, one of the two. It'll be on the website, and we hope to see you guys there. And maybe Kirill, you can give us a little update on how your installation is going. Thanks again, everybody. A big thank you to everybody. We'll look forward to seeing you soon, and yeah, talk to you soon.
Have a great week, guys.
Thanks, Ken.